some of my scores, and I don't know how this arose, but I think I have this right. She said that when you have two, like arm symbols, for example, connected on the page, there was a pause at the end of one before it went to the next one. And she wasn't talking about actually stopping. That there was a slight pause there before you went to the next direction. And I said in our notation there was no pause; it was continuous movement.
So could you write up there?
And so my question is not what is and what isn't, but can Anne clarify that? You know, in the kinesiology, was there a slight pause before you connected to the next symbols?
Let's make an example just of what Ray did, and we'll just assume it. Oh. So let's make an example of going. Right, make an example.
So is the question of gaps between direction symbols?
Yes. And Maria said that you didn't need the gap to have the slight pause, that it was continuous.
Sandra, could you write a series of direction, a little quarter bra thing there?
Mira, can you do it?
But
that's the way beginners read.
Just simple.
Yeah, just write a simple. Ray, what do you want
just
her to
put
write?
the right arm going forward, middle, side, middle.
And make good 3 symbols though, because there's another. Okay.
No contraction or anything?
No, just it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And then do one more. Go forward, side, up. I have a reason.
Side high.
Upward.
Place high.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Now,
So I'm sorry.
Do you want me to stay here and
she has left gaps. She
Take out the gaps.
Sandy.
Well, do another one.
They have to
Another
touch
one
each
with-
other.
No, just take out the
No,
gaps.
don't take
That's
them
fine.
out.
No,
Leave it
there's
and
a
do
B.
another. Or you don't have to do it with.
No,
Blah blah blah.
just do the right arm.
Yeah.
Oh, this gets nasty.
There you go.
This is bad.
There you go.
Oh, and we should do one. We have to do one more.
Okay.
Because then you get the full effect.
There you go.
Now, of course, they should not look like one symbol, which now the full right to middle does. Each one has to have its own bottom or top.
So you have
The
another.
fence. The fence between the fields.
Right.
Yeah.
So now we have to have C
No,
with
the gap in effect becomes the fence between the fields.
No, but
gap
the
Too big a gap. Is
The
is
gap
what
too
she's
big
saying
a
is
gap.
those two.
Hold it. I'm drawing by hand here, you guys. I hate it when you always get so crazy about details when everyone's freestyle writing. In a score, the gaps are much smaller than this. You know that, so don't act like this is unusual.
Can we make another C and assume that A is written exactly what you would want it to be with that much of a gap, and make C with as well as you can, and we're all in agreement with just the tiniest, because they are 3
Really?
different things.
No, we don't.
Now, wait a minute.
For
Sorry.
God's sake.
I read Anne.
It appears we were criticizing Sandy's drawing the A
Shall I
one.
pull out a score?
No, I'm just saying, I'm glad you wrote it that,
Lob on writer. Here, you got examples right here.
There's examples.
please. I'm glad you wrote it that way with the little gaps, because that is your breath pause. When they are continuous, you do have to give each one its own bottom or top, with enough of a
The
white
lava
space
notation.
you can see they are separate symbols, but that doesn't change the times. Are we all agreed on that?
No, the book.
Yes.
The book.
Yes.
Well, I'm not sure what you mean by a breath pause. I mean, using the word
Phrasing.
breath has nothing to do with breathing at the.
No, but it's a
No,
thought.
but that's-
You're going forward, middle. You're going side, middle.
Yeah, but
You're
just
going
why-
place
why-
high.
Just
A
wondering why
moment.
you use the word breath
Allow
because
it.
it brings up images. It's true. It's a choice of
It's
words.
not breath in the sense of.
No, I know that, but when you use that word and put it down on the page as a breath rhythm, the reader thinks of breath, unless you explain that it's not a breath rhythm.
Well, I don't
Now,
think
why
they
did
would
you,
think
like,
breath.
excuse
I
me,
would.
why did you bring in the word rhythm?
Well, I shouldn't have.
Well,
Yeah, no, it's exactly right.
you're bringing something else.
Yeah.
In music, they would never put notes touching like this.
You can't
Unless it was
can't compare
deliberate.
the-
I mean, even when they
can't
taught-
make the
You
comparison
can't
with,
make the
with
comparison.
music. I'm sorry.
No.
Vincent's our musician. We would love
But
to
I
hear.
think, but I think you can. There
Can-
is also exactly the same idea of a beginning and ending of a thought, of an individual note before you go on to the next one. What do you think?
I would add a phrasing indication.
Could we?
Yes, but as far as autography goes of writing, you would never write all 3/4 notes touching. There would always be a slight gap between them. Correct?
But you
And
still
then-
put them the same way, though.
But if it's jam-packed
Yeah. And
in
what
the,
about C,
in the measure?
where you do the same?
But there's still separation between the notes.
Is it?
What
Just like there
about-
is in symbols.
What about in the book? We have the phrasing bow, right? And the question I would have is, when you write the same thing, A, but with a phrasing bow, and there are these examples, question I would have is there a difference between writing A with, if you wrote A and we're assuming it's the smooth movement, right? And what's the difference between doing that and then adding a phrasing bow? Because here, if I,
Charlotte,
or are
can
they
you
the same?
can
mean
you
A
draw
with
on the
delib-
board?
You mean A with deliberate gaps?
No. In the book, Anne talks about the fact, and I can't write the example, but she would write about A as though A, and it's assuming that's written with in such a way that there is just a slight gap, so it would be read with as a smooth, continuous movement, right? We all agree to that. That A is ya da 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 da.
No, that's not
da,
true.
da, da.
That's not true.
No, there
That's
are little,
not true.
and as written, and thank you for making
Okay,
visual mistake,
okay, I see. A is,
is what I call a breath pause.
or a stop of some sort, if you want
A
to
very
eliminate.
slight, you arrive,
You,
and it's as though you say, I got
There's a
there,
period,
then I got
there's a
here,
period.
then I got
it's like a period at the end. See,
there.
all right,
No,
No, it's not a
it's a,
period.
it's a comma.
or a comma, a comma. C, what I would like to know is, C without the bow would be read the way I just said it, right? Without the bow would be read as one continuous movement.
Correct.
Without the bow.
Without the bow. With the bow, is there a difference between with the bow and without the bow? And if so, what?
Well, the bow tells you how many symbols are in this phrase. So the bow could just go for the first 3 symbols, and then the forward middle without the bow. So I can't sing it here, but the first 3 symbols have that feeling, and after that you lose that feeling of phrasing.
So you would only use the bow if you want to
Yes, right.
change where the boundaries are, or in some way make the boundaries, the bow is only used to show the boundaries of a phrasing.
Right.
And my other question, although I'll bring up my other question afterwards because we have the hand raised for Brenton.
Oh, did you want to say your question first, or?
All right.
Yes.
Well, my other, it's leading into something else.
Could we not lead into something
Well,
else?
it's leading into this. I feel it's a continuation of it. Look,
I would like to just bring in the idea of movement thoughts,
right.
Right.
and that the phrasing bow gives that.
When you think of
Like
that.
a
This
comma.
is one thought, this is another.
Right,
Like
a
a
phrase.
comma
It's a
within a
phrase. That would mean that one
sentence.
And the reason you
by
put
a
it, the
phrase.
reason you put it in a score is because you can have pages connected symbols, and when you look at it, you can't see
What is
where
important?
the phrasing is.
And when
when you put the bow in, you know how you see this group of movement, and then you see this section of that.
My
So you're seeing
que-
arcs of movement.
The arcs of movement, right?
You're seeing the arcs, the waves, the roller coaster.
That's when it's
And my
important.
question has to do with, is this the convention or the rule in motif notation? What we have here is we're saying with or with. All right, I'll let Brenton change, and then I do want to say what I wanted to say, but I'll say it later.
Okay. I think I'm grouping with what Ray's saying, but yeah. So the difference between a series of symbols with and without the phrase bow, or without the bow, I would agree that if there's no phrase bow, then for me that it's unspecified what kind of well, for those of us who believe in effort, what kind of effort dynamic is being applied. And so if there's no phrase bow, then it's not necessarily really continuous feeling. It's unspecified. Whereas if you put the phrase bow, then automatically I'm getting more flow in there, and that sense of continuity, which also implies the kind of sentence-like phrasing, is there. And I do think it is useful to draw some understanding from musical notation, although obviously we're not limited by it, and this is a different beast. And then a second point is on whether symbols could or should be touching. I would first have to ask, is it possible to even write all the symbols in a touching way where the clarity is maintained?
Yes, yeah. But my question actually is very much.
No, the answer is no, because the example B, where the high and the forward
Means
join
something
up,
else.
they could
Yeah.
be going forward, mid,
And
through- yeah,
right,
right.
that's a different issue. But
That's completely
picking up on what Brenton said, and then, if you don't mind, because it's direct, and then coming because it's a different issue. What I was going to say was, in lava notation, for as often happens, the convention or the rule that we said is, we have two options. We say, if you don't say anything different, in other words, without the bow, you read it with continuous, and I'm not using the word continuous having meaning anything to do with effort, Brenton, because
Right.
because to me, effort may or may not be the thing that makes you do a certain kind of phrasing.
Okay.
Different issue. But anyway, with or without the bow, the rule is that it's continual movement. With the bow, it's continuous movement. Or I'm sorry, without the bow, when there's a tiny little gap, it's continuous movement. When there is a bigger gap, then we have boundaries in our phrasing, or however you want to state it. There's no third option in lava notation, as far as I understand it, to say you can do either one if the interpretation is open. As I would like it to be, and what I think that Brenton is saying in motif notation, as always, I would like to have the default mean, if you have a series of direction symbols and nothing else is said, you can do either. And if you want to have it be more of the phrasing, then you would put the slight gaps. And if you want it to be phrasing, then you would have the phrasing bow. Because in
Charlotte, you're mixing apples and oranges.
No.
In choreographic work, the dictates of the music oftentimes naturally. That's why you don't see that many phrase bows being used all the time in choreographic works. In structured LN, because the music, the speed of the music, the speed which you have to do the movement, if the symbols are together, or the very
Right.
slight gap, then the movement's going to flow with the music. If there's deliberately a more staccato feel that you need to stop, then the gap is 1 square, or 2 squares, or 3 squares, or 4 squares, depending on how length of time. In a structured score, I can't envision a reason to say that it can be either or.
Well,
it's
that's
not.
what I'm saying. I'm not arguing that there should be an either or in lava notation, because the application of lava notation and the way, you know, the fallback reason and purpose for it is dance movement, as you say. But in motif notation, I like that. It's been designed for a greater variety of applications, and certainly in the way that I presented in our course here, presented, you know, the distance course, you can make motif notation more applicable to a greater degree of disciplines and uses if you do not mix apples and you have things be open, in other words, and then either or, and then specify the way that Brenton was talking. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think also what Sandra was expressing is also the bias of maybe lava notation towards Western music and
There you
its
go.
qualities.
Now,
Well, yeah, that's what I specialize in, Western theatrical dance. So, but I do have one thing. So then, but why not then use one of Anne's time signs, and use it as a key signature, or use a time sign within a bracket if it's a short amount of time where you want to express this idea. You can put it in a bracket, or you can put it as a key at the beginning, saying from the get-go, I don't want you sticking to any kind of rhythm or whatever. And there's time signs that are already there.
But that's the point. You'd want the plain vanilla series of direction signs to say only what they say and not to imply anything about the phrasing. It's the most basic thing that you can say about direction. Go here, go here, go here, go here.
But
That's what the direction sign says. And then, if you want to, so that's the either. It says you can either go ya da 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 da. You can have
Add the time signs to say it may be performed
this way or
this way.
or add the phrasing. But
Give
so
no without phrasing,
Without the
but
phrasing,
just
whatever.
the time signs.
Well,
So you say this is going to be performed. You have the choice.
exactly.
This way in timing or
Exactly.
that way.
In music, if you have music and you do not have phrasing, phrasing bows tell you the same thing, where the units, the boundaries of the unit, not use the word phrase, but unit is. If you do not have a phrasing bow, is the performer free to manipulate and play with the phrasing?
You would play what's indicated.
Play what's indicated.
But what was it? But then it's indicated. But is the sense of, you know, can I go over the bar line and make that unit? You know, in the
Can I ask you a
melody?
quick, what's the term that starts with a C? Where with I know, but it's specifically. Oh, see, we've used it in a score. You used it in Kaleidoscope, and I asked you to look it up. It's where in a grouping of
Starts with a C.
it starts with a C. In a grouping of notes that the performer has freedom of interpretation within a very short period of time. What is that called?
Not ad lib.
No. It starts with a C. It's a musical term.
Are you talking about in a group of time you're free to do what you want? I mean, free to do
Yeah. Not a credenza.
a cadenza?
Not a cadenza. Oh, fuck, I just
If
used
you
it too. And it's in
Kyle-
Kaleidoscope.
Do all music
Shoot.
scores do not have phrasing bows in them?
Oh, sure.
If you all right, so if they see a score and it does not have phrasing bows in it, I need to know when I'm interpreting that score as a performer, I will impose, or whatever criteria you want to use, based on my own sensibility, based on the style of the composer.
No, you got a metronomic speed.
No, but we're not talking about speed. We're talking about the sense of how the arc of the phrase. and
I
the
would need
arc
more
of the
indications.
what?
I would need more indications.
So that's why I'm saying, without that arc of the phrase indicated there, I am free as a performer to give the arc of the phrase, to impose the arc of the phrase on it. It's nothing to do with speed. It has to do with, as you say, the breath, where you put your commas.
So from a musical
Can
standpoint,
you see? Can you see,
Yeah.
Brenton?
You could turn me a tiny bit. Thank you. Oh, and thank you, whoever's been turning me this whole time. I don't even know who you are, but I really
Mira, most
appreciate
of the
it.
time.
Who remember what
Wait a
was
minute, we're doing this.
who was the on TV? Not Mad Max. Who was
Oh, I
Remember
know.
that-
Yes, Max Headroom.
Oh,
Max
Max
Headroom?
Headroom.
He's the head. Okay, Brenton
I
Headroom.
should talk like I should talk like
Right, 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 right.
Kyle.
Okay,
I would only say so we're talking. I mean, to make it
Well, make
similar to
another
music,
one.
to make it similar. Okay, so I guess A.
Can you make another bar too? Because the bar line has certain indications about phrasing.
Well, that's true. I mean, you want.
Yes.
So we're talking about doing something like this, which would be
Right.
playing these four as one single
Right,
thing.
or
but,
playing them. Oh,
but if you didn't,
exactly.
and here's where you need more information. You need to know what you're playing. So if I'm playing, for example, if I'm a drummer. So if I'm playing a snare drum, this means nothing except hit at the 4 beats.
Right.
I would, if I wanted to extend the sound, I would have to add a roll indication.
And without that, you wouldn't.
Without,
make
I would
it.
just play 4 single attacks, completely detached from each other, because with one single stroke,
Okay.
I can't produce a long or connected tone. I can't change it.
But what if that's a pianist?
The pianists, they can hold or not,
But
and then
they-
they have further indication.
But they still, without the indications, and I'm reading that as a pianist, I don't play bum 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 bum. I as a musician, just like as I try to, maybe I might play bum bum bum
Sure.
bum. Bum. I would put them together, or I might even make the 2 measures be a phrase.
could.
Exactly. I am
But you-
allowed the freedom to do that, and that's what I'm saying. Motif notation, we're doing.
And
Am I right?
Caesura.
Oh, Caesura. Sure.
What is that?
Well, that's a
I'll let
How
cut.
do you spell it?
a
Well,
Caesura.
maybe
I don't know if that's correct. Is this the the musical indication for the Caesura? They call them railroad tracks.
That's a break in
which
sound.
exactly.
I think
This
what
is
you're looking for is cadenza.
yeah. A Caesura. If you have this is perfect actually, except it would be up here.
How do you spell Seizura?
Ceasura.
But I think it's actually not what you're thinking it is.
Brenton,
Caesura.
Yeah.
Can you go online and pull up?
I'm already online.
You don't have another computer, like an iPad or something that you can pull up Caesura?
Oh
It
no, I've
completely
already looked it up.
breaks.
I think
Yes.
the word you're looking for
Let's
is
go back,
cadenza.
let's go back to the blackboard.
A Caesura completely stops. It doesn't mean do whatever you want. It is completely stopped,
so
and
then it's
then
not
it
a
moves
Caesura.
on.
What is the
But if you is it
Oh,
is it-
rubato.
Sure.
well, the rubato means you
No,
continue.
it's not rubato.
It slows it out. It's,
No,
it's
we're
not-
close. We're getting
You want the
there.
word that
Rubato
starts
is
with
different.
C?
So,
It says
excuse me.
cadenza.
Yeah.
No,
but
Section,
is that
usually
the
in a
musical
concerto or
sign?
similar work that
For
is
a
used to display the performer's
Caesura.
Wait a
No,
minute.
that's
wait a
not what
minute.
I'm looking for.
Everybody,
Never mind.
let's hear Brenton, and then let's hear Anne, because they both, I'm sure, are brilliant. Go
Okay,
ahead.
quick things. One is that a percussionist's role in what I think you're talking about, Charlotte, is maybe different from someone who's playing a melodic line.
Or
And
yes, right, a violinist or a
So it's
pianist.
going to be different. And I
Right.
think, and this is the same actually for actors as well. But you have the text, which is the music or the actor's words.
Right.
But then how they phrase it, the nuance
Exactly.
they give to that phrasing, that's exactly, I think, what you're talking about, Charlotte.
Yeah.
And what you're making a plug for, I believe, is that in the absence of particular phrasing or other nuance indicators, that movement symbols should be reduced to their most atomic level, and therefore give the executor the most freedom in being able to interpret those.
The motif notation.
In motif,
And not
correct.
in
In
modern
motif, that's
notation,
right.
there are reasons not to do that. Very strong arguments.
Got it.
So, yes, exactly. Now we had Anne. We had Ann, and I think we're getting loud. Poor Ann is going to expire from the
We get so
loudness.
excited.
She didn't tell me not to have my voice up this time, but now I remember by the end of the meeting. Ann.
Well, I'm not quite sure where we are.
All right.
Do we have a dictionary?
Yes.
Where's the dictionary?
Here.
Just go online.
We're talking about.
Stay with this.
We're talking about the.
Oh, I'm a pit bull right now.
But then, Sandra,
Ann.
don't you want to discuss about that?
But
The
no.
and
Let's let Ann talk about whatever. We were talking about phrasing and stuff, Ann, and music.
My experience is that you take a Laban notation score and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And the movement finishes at 12. But the notation symbol fills the whole of that last beat. There isn't a gap.
Yes.
It is performed with the finishing on 12 because the music tells you. The music comes to a cadence or something where you feel right, so then I arrive, even though there's been no gap. And
This is fascinating to me because I've been pushing my students to go over the bar line and continue, 1, 2, to make sure that you continue. So you're saying that it's okay in LN to not do that?
I'm saying that so many scores
Yes.
will finish the movement phrase using the whole of that last beat
Okay.
instead of stopping short,
Okay.
allowing a pause so you know that's the end of that. Now we start
Okay.
again. But that when performed, the music will make it clear, and bum, 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 and so you finish bum, you don't finish bum.
Yeah, well, I don't
So,
know because,
And if I might just say,
yeah.
the reason is we don't want to have to put everything into specific time.
Mm.
Now, if you have enough feet, then you have to shorten to leave room for the upbeat.
Mm-hmm.
But very often, if you don't need to, the practice
Yes.
has been that you don't. And specific time is usually less familiar, and people are perfectly happy and performing well with the unit time. But there are certain dances that do need specific time.
I don't know if you got a chance, this is quite a while ago, but we had a meeting with Janos in Hungary and talking about the same old unit versus specific timing. And I, for one, and think others were fascinated when he told us that he teaches, and he has many, many students, both unit timing and specific timing. They learn both, and his sense was neither was more difficult than the other. They were both equally easy to learn. If you taught it right, they were both easily to learn. And then he said his own reasons, of course, as we all know, for preferring one over the other. But, you know, to be careful about our assumptions about what is it. I was fascinated by that, for him to say that, you know, so, yeah. Well, the clock, well, we only have 2 minutes. Can we let the last 2 minutes be for Anne to conclude us?